Next up on the Cosmic News Network, First Contact with Joshua Pope.
Good morning, Earthlings. Good. How you doing today? Good. How you doing today? Welcome to First Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things we're talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Pope. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. We'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. We'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause the times is the man of truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have arrived.
The man of truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have arrived.
The man of truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio.
It's time to the man
First
of
Contact
truth.
Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio.
It's time to the man.
Good morning, Earthlings. Welcome back to First Contact Radio. Hope you had a good weekend. Today is the 14th of September. We can see that it is Rosh Hashanah. So happy New Year to all of those celebrating Rosh Hashanah. Our sun sign today is in Virgo. Our moon sign is in Libra. We've just had a solar eclipse, new moon, and we're off to a fresh start. Right here we see that Mercury today is going to be in a sextile with Venus, so communication and imagination are going to be working together. That's a good thing. That is a good thing. Not a lot of other aspects to deal with today. The Jewish calendar, as I just said, today is Rosh Hashanah. The day is 1 Tishri. It's the beginning of a new month. Beginning of the new month. This is the month of Tishri. So let's read a little bit about Rosh Hashanah, since that is today. It says on Tishri 1, the sixth day of creation, God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness. Let him have dominion over the fish, and over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth." God formed man out of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. And God took the man and placed the man in the garden to work and to keep it. And God said, "It's not good that man should be alone. I will make a help meet opposite him." God caused a deep sleep to fall upon the man, and slept, and he took one of his sides and closed up his flesh in its place. And God built the side which he had taken from the man into a woman, and brought her to the man, and said, "This is now bone of my bones, flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore a man leaves his father and his mother, and cleaves to his wife, and they become one flesh." Okay, on the very first day he was created, man committed the first sin of history, transgressing the divine commandment not to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Adam and Eve were banished from the garden, and mankind became subject to death, labor, and moral confusion. But on that day, the first man and woman also repented their sin, introducing the concept and opportunities of teshuvah, or return, into the human experience. Okay, so, and then it goes on to say on the first of Tishri, the 370th day of the great flood, Noah dispatched a dove from the ark. For the third time, when the dove did not return, Noah knew that the flood waters had completely drained from the earth. On that day, Noah removed the roof of the ark, but Noah and his family and all of the animals remained in the ark for another 57 days, until the 27th of Cheshvan, when the surface of the earth was completely dry, and God commanded them to leave the ark and resettle and repopulate the earth. Okay, and we have Abraham's supreme test of faith. His binding of Isaac in preparation to sacrifice him as per God's command occurred on the 1st of Tishri in the year 2084 from creation, and is recalled each Rosh Hashanah with the sounding of the Shofar, the ram's horn. A ram was sacrificed in Isaac's stead when the angel revealed that his command to sacrifice Isaac was but a divine test. The Torah's account of the event is publicly read in the synagogue on the second day of Rosh Hashanah. On the day of Isaac's binding, his mother Sarah passed away at age 127 and was subsequently buried in the Machpelah cave in Hebron. All right, and let's see here. It says one more here. In his letter to brother-in-law Rabbi Gershon Kitover, the Baal Shem Tov relates, on Rosh Hashanah of the year 5507 from creation, I made an ascent of soul in the manner known to you. I ascend level after level until I reach the chamber of a Messiah. When I asked Messiah, when will the Master come? He replied, when your teachings will be disseminated and revealed in the world, and your wellspring will spread to the outside. All right, laws and customs on the first night of Rosh Hashanah. Tonight we extend to one another the greeting, L'shavna Tova Tekatev Vitetchim. May you be inscribed and sealed for a good year. In the evening meal, we eat apples dipped in honey, the head of a fish, pomegranates, sweet carrots, and other foods signifying a sweet and successful year. In the course of the morning, in the Musaf service, the Shofar is sounded 100 times in various combinations, and the Tavura in fulfillment of the primary mitzvah of Rosh Hashanah. Okay. And the daily thought for today, we are one child. Your child is not like everyone else. Your child is you. And yet your child is not you. Your child is his own person. A paradox. Our souls are that paradox on a greater scale, the nexus between God and his universe, where his own breath becomes his creation. That is why we are called his children, and we call him our Father. So we're going to take a moment here to sound the shofar. All right, very good. Sounding the shofar. We're going to do that once every day over the course of this Rosh Hashanah time, over the next 10 days as we move from here until Yom Kippur. All right, the Mayan Oracle, 8-tone day, 8 seed, guided by the star. The seed is planting and flowering. The star, beauty and elegance. 8 is about integrity, the tone of integrity. Our like-minded energy is our vision. Our challenge is timelessness, and the hidden power is our ability to navigate by synchronicity. And that happens to be the theme of this wave spell. So in the wave spell of synchronicity, that's our hidden power. The phrase for today is I harmonize, which is from the 8th tone. I harmonize in order to target modeling awareness. I seal the input of flowering with the galactic tone of integrity. I am guided by the power of intelligence. And here's where we are on the Tzolk'in. Tzolk'in's a grid, 13 columns, 20 rows. You start from the top, you count from top to bottom. When you get to the bottom, you go to the top of the next row, column, and then down. So top to bottom. So we've gone through, and we are now at the 8th column. And the current moon phase, 2% of the way full. We've just passed that new moon, which occurred last evening. Space weather, solar wind, 468.9 kilometers per second. Planetary K-index, currently quiet at a 3. Big coronal holes opening up there, so I'm guessing we're going to feel some effect from that down here. M-class flare possibilities up at 10%. X-class at 1. Geomagnetic storm activity is hanging at 30% in the mid-latitudes, jumping up as high as 45 in the high latitudes. And in the sky tonight, Altair is the brightest star in the south after dark. Look for Gamma Aquila to its upper right by the finger width at arm's length, and Fader Beta Aquila a little further to the opposite side of Altair. Delphinus the dolphin is about fist width to Altair's left. And that is our cosmic weather. Gets us started for today so we know what we're dealing with. I'm going to jump away momentarily. Oh, no, we're going to UFO news. I'll be back. Let's do it.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk. Thank you very much. So today, our first story here is an alien ferry caught fluttering near 9/11 tribute lights on live webcam. All right, there's something there. The eyewitness says, "What is the body? A place that we can take care of proxily? A dark prism that is free? Or the temple that we inhabit that allows it to be related to enjoy the matter?" And that's what we are renewing constantly and transfiguring to eternalize. Okay, in this video, there's a lot of different images being shown here. But I'm going to leave you see it because what you're looking for is this little light. They're just showing examples of it. It says this ferry was caught by YouTube user Orlando Bosca. He caught many interesting UFOs near and around the New York area on live cams. Since he was so close to being 9/11, he took a long look at those live cams, and what he found is remarkable. He caught a ferry on cam as it was dancing near the 9/11 tribute light. Camera doesn't lie, and the 3 screenshots above show that it does appear to be a tiny being with wings. Okay. Next one is up by the space station, if up is the correct word. All right, there's our object in question by the image of the Earth that we get shown from time to time that they say is real. Sorry guys, there was no audio and my son and wife were talking. I just wanted to post it as it was. I was watching the NASA cam when I noticed a long UFO emerging from the clouds. UFO rises, and just before it cloaks itself, its nose pointing opposite direction turns ever so slightly as if setting the course. Okay. Here's our picture of the Earth, which we are always told are composites. Composites mean not real, put together, fake, made up. Alright, there's scenes right there. Is that it? Alright, links available, videos available, check it out. Here, we have an object that is supposedly up on Mars, or wherever the Mars base actually is. Could be here on this planet. Could be here in Antarctica, where we've never been. Life on Mars, sure, it sounds strange, but why? Because they were taught by our government that life doesn't exist on other planets. We've been programmed to think that they are correct. Don't challenge authority, not when so many trust it. Well, I was one of the trusting long ago, but then it all changed when I found things in a Mars photo. In this photo, I found a living creature with a black exoskeleton, much like a desert beetle or scorpion might have. The creature is sitting on top of a rock, so you can see it further away, probably for hunting purposes. It also has an upraised arm with 3 claws on its end. It probably didn't move while the rover was there, since it will be conserving its energy. Movement would be reserved for hunting and surviving. I also found a small roof structure. This structure would match the size of a tiny woman figures we have been finding. 3 come to mind. The roof has a cornice, supports, and bars going down where the walls would have been. Okay. So some weird little creature thing. Alright, moving on from here. Manta ray UFO over Costa Rica. What looks like a photography drone at first has become a mysterious object resembling a manta ray. It has no visible propellers, leading the witness to conclude it as something else. The witness spotted the object near Ciudad Colon, Costa Rica. Mutual UFO Network received a report on the 29th about the 11-minute sightings on a bright morning. The eyewitness noted that the object did not reflect much sunlight, even though it was a bright morning. It shows different angles of the object. If you look in the pictures, it appears that the object is swerving from side to side. Okay, right here. Okay. Strange sounds in the sky over Jakarta, Indonesia. New amazing footage. Becoming some strange sounds over Jakarta. September 11th. See if you can hear some of these sounds here. Okay, you heard that? Some strange creaking kind of sounds. I'm not sure what they are. We're moving on. Daytime UFO sighting over Biel-Bienne, Switzerland on the 12th of September. Daytime sighting recorded of Biel-Bienne, Switzerland. 2-minute, 25-second video of the actual sighting. We're looking for it. It is right. Of course, it's always better when you can enlarge the screen. See the object in question. There it is right there. Okay. And one more story, ancient flying beings. Here's the presentation of the Mayan carvings with winged men that were found in Izapa, Mexico back in 1930. Okay, so if you click through here, Jaime is doing this presentation. There we go. There's the object itself. It's a 3-minute, 48-second video. I'm going to leave it for you as always. You can check it out. And that is our UFO news. I'll be back. We shall continue on. Stay tuned.
Come into our circle, Great Spirit. Fill our souls with peace.
Rosh Hashanah today. So let's look a little bit more at what Rosh Hashanah is and get into further reading about this. Says that the festival of Rosh Hashanah, the name means head of the year, is observed on the first day of the Jewish year. It is the anniversary of the creation of Adam and Eve, the first man and woman, and their actions towards the realization of mankind's role in God's world. Rosh Hashanah thus emphasizes the special relationship between God and humanity, our dependence upon God as our creator and sustainer, and God's dependence upon us as the ones who makes his presence known and felt in his world. Each year in Rosh Hashanah, all inhabitants of the world pass before God like a flock of sheep, and it is decreed in the heavenly court who shall live and who shall die, who shall be impoverished, who shall be enriched, who shall fall, who shall rise. But this is also the day we proclaim God, King of the universe. The Kabbalists teach that the continued existence of the universe is dependent upon the renewal of divine desire for a world when we accept God's kingship each year on Rosh Hashanah. The central observance of Rosh Hashanah is the sounding of the Shofar, the ram's horn, which also represents the trumpet blast of a people's coronation of their king. The cry of the Shofar is also a call for repentance, for Rosh Hashanah is also the anniversary of man's first sin and his repentance thereof, and serves as the first day of the 10 days of repentance which cultivate in Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. Another significance of the shofar is to recall the binding of Isaac, which also occurred on Rosh Hashanah, in which a ram took Isaac's place as an offering to God. We invoke Abraham's readiness to sacrifice his son and plead that the merit of his deed should stand by us as we pray for a year of life, health, and prosperity. Altogether, we listen to 100 shofar blasts over the course of the Rosh Hashanah services. Additional Rosh Hashanah observances include eating a piece of apple dipped in honey to symbolize our desire for a sweet year, and other special foods symbolic of the New Year's blessing. Blessing one another with the words Rosh Hashanah Tova Tikatiev Vichetium. May you be inscribed and sealed for a good year. Tashalich, a special prayer said near a body of water. In invocation of the verse, you shall cast their sins into the depths of the sea. And as with every major Jewish holiday, the candle lighting and prayers will recite Kiddush, make a blessing on the challah. All right, so there is what Rosh Hashanah is. So let's look at it. Let's consider what this is. It's the idea and the studying of Adam and Eve, the first man and woman. Because when we're looking at the understanding of the Bible and understanding of what it is about, it all goes back to the beginning story of when man was first created. So that's a very important thing, because from them we have evolved. Now, was there man and women upon the earth before Adam and Eve? Well, yes, there were. But those stories are for another time and another place. We here on the earth at this present time are dealing with this current story, this current timeline. So we need to understand it so we can understand more of what's going on. Now, it's always good that we remind ourselves where we come from. But I'm going to throw some other alternative ideas out here, because we know the Adam and Eve story that the Bible tells us, that Adam and Eve were put in the Garden of Eden. God said, don't eat from the tree, that Eve took from the tree and gave Adam the apple, and they ate, and then God was upset, and then they got kicked out of the garden. That's the story we know from the Bible. However, there is another version of that story, and this story can be found in the Nag Hammadi Library. The Nag Hammadi Library are a number of texts that were found in 1945 in Nag Hammadi, Egypt, in a jar. There were 52 books in the entire collection that were there, writings, and these go back to the time of Jesus and the apostles. And there are writings in there that really describe what happened after the crucifixion and the resurrection. And throughout many of these stories that are in the Nag Hammadi, we get more detailed information about what was going on at that time than in the Bible. As a matter of fact, many of the stories are versions of what is in the Bible, but a little bit different. In many cases, there's more of the story. The reason I tell you this is because there's a number of times where Jesus and others tell the story of Adam and Eve. And the story of Adam and Eve, as told in the Nag Hammadi, is different than the story of Adam and Eve told in the Bible, in the Old Testament. Right here, we have this called the Revelation or the Apocalypse of Adam. I'm going to read some of this. The revelation that Adam taught his son Seth in the 700th year, saying, "Listen to my words, my son Seth. When God created me out of the earth along with your mother Eve, I went along about with her in a glory that she saw in the eternal realm from which she came. She taught me knowledge of the eternal God, and we resembled the great eternal angels. We resembled the great eternal angels, for we are higher than God who created us, and powers with him whom we did not know. God, the ruler of the realms and the powers, divided us in wrath, and we became two beings. And the glory in our hearts left us, me and your mother Eve, along with the first knowledge that breathed in us. And glory fled from us and entered into another realm. Your mother Eve and I didn't come from this realm, but knowledge entered into the seed of the great eternal beings. For this reason, I myself have called you by the name of that person who is the seed of the great generation of its predecessor." In other words, Seth. "After these days, the eternal knowledge of the God of truth withdrew from me and your mother, Eve. Then we learned about the inanimate as we did about human beings. We recognized the God who created us. We were not strangers to his powers, and we served him in fear and slavery. After these events, our hearts darkened, and I slept in my heart's darkened thought. And I saw three persons before me whose likeness I was unable to recognize. They were not from the powers of God who created us. They surpassed glory, saying to me, 'Rise, Adam, from the sleep of death, and hear about the eternal being and the seed of the person to whom life has come, who came from you and from Eve your wife.' When I heard these words from the great person standing before me, Eve and I sighed in our hearts, and the Lord, the God who created us, stood before us. He said, 'Adam, why were you both sighing in your hearts? Did you know that I am the God who created you? I breathed into you the spirit of the living soul. Darkness came over your eyes. Then the God who created us created a son from himself, and Eve, your mother. I knew a sweet desire for a mother, and the vigor of your eternal knowledge was destroyed in us, and weakness pursued us. The days of our life were few. I knew that I had come under the authority of death. Now, my son Seth, I reveal what those whom I saw revealed to me after I went through the period of this generation, and the years of the generations were over. For rain showers of God Almighty will pour down so that he can destroy all flesh from the earth, using what is around them along with the people from the seed of those who received the life and knowledge. The life of the knowledge came from your mother Eve and me. They were strangers to him. Afterward, great angels came on high clouds, who take these people where the spirit of life lives. The whole multitude of flesh will be behind in the waters. God will rest from his wrath, and he casts his power over the waters, and gives power to the sons and their wives by means of the ark, along with the animals, whichever he pleased, and the birds in the heaven." Okay, let me scroll down here. You can see there's a lot more to this story here, okay? So let me back up here. Let me kind of give you the summary version. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can go back and find something else I want to show you here. Okay, this is the codex to the book here. Let's go look at the codex index. All right, let's go look at here. The Apocryphon of John, right here. Here's another one. This is very important, in which it talks about Adam and Eve. Okay, it talks about the creation. Let me just summarize here, because there's a lot here. We've read through this. The stories we have in the Old Testament are different than the stories in the Nag Hammadi. They seem to be edited versions in the Old Testament. According to the Nag Hammadi, it's very basic, that you've got the mother and father, God, the eternal creators of all, beyond all things, became in awareness of each other, and upon their awareness of each other, a spark was created. That spark is the Christ consciousness. That spark was then given authority to continue to create realms from there in the name of the Mother and the Father. So this Christ consciousness energy, also called the autogens, went into the world to create, and created 4 realms. And in each one of these realms, there was a being put in charge of one of these realms. One of these was Seth, one of the sons of Adam. Okay, so now we've got these realms. We've got these 4 realms. We've got the Christ consciousness as a son. Seth is in one of them. You've got other angels in charge of other ones. And in each one of these realms, you've got 3 other realms that evolve. And in one of these realms, there is a woman named Sophia, and she gives birth in some way to a son who is considered to be imperfect for whatever reason. Something along the creation, bringing into the world of this was different. And the being that came forth, called the Yaldabaoth, we know Yaldabaoth in the Old Testament as Yahweh. Yaldabaoth was an imperfect being. Yaldabaoth went out into the world on his own, creating, not understanding that there was a bigger deity or God than he was. So Yaldabaoth went out and created another world, and created angels, and created demons, and created all kind of other beings, and was filled with wonderment and pride at what had been created. And then one day, Sophia appealed to God, the Mother and the Father, and said, I'm really having some problems here. Yaldabaoth went off, took some of my power to create. There was, problems with all of this, and now he's gone crazy, and he's creating this world and thinks he's God. So the real God shows up to Yaldabaoth, and Yaldabaoth became jealous and couldn't really deal with it. And the way that Yaldabaoth decided to handle the situation was to create a skin suit. And so Yaldabaoth and his angels and demons worked, and they put all of their best efforts into creating the skin suit, Adam. And in this skin suit, what they were going to do is they were going to trap the Spirit of God so that God could be their slave. Only thing is, Yaldabaoth didn't have within him the knowledge to know how to do this, because Yaldabaoth was imperfect. And so this is an opportunity where Sophia then appealed to Mother, Father, God again and said, well, now, what do we do? And Mother, Father, God said, don't worry, we'll take care of it. We're going to send some emissaries down there to tell Yaldabaoth to breathe a particular way into this creature, and it will come to life. What happened was, as Yaldabaoth was visited by these emissaries, they said, breathe into this creature, will come to life. Yaldabaoth followed their instructions, and what came out of Yaldabaoth was this presence that he did not know was there. And this spirit, this divine spark of the Creator came forth, and it went into Adam. And Adam's eyes were opened, and Adam understood more than Yaldabaoth wanted him to understand. And in this process, what was sent into Adam was this feminine spirit who was now instructing Adam. And in the instructions of Adam, Yaldabaoth noticed Adam was becoming enlightened, and saw that Adam was receiving instructions somewhere. So Yaldabaoth took Adam and cleaved him in two in order to pull out that being that was inside guiding. But there wasn't another being there that he could see, because that being was in the spirit. But Yaldabaoth, obviously a genetic engineering master, went ahead and separated this being, and now you've got a man and you got a woman. And the woman continued to teach. And Eve was teaching Adam that Adam was a slave to Yaldabaoth, who is not the real God. And that's the problem here, because Yaldabaoth isn't the real God. Yaldabaoth is the imperfect one. And so eventually Adam and Eve were kicked out of the garden by Yaldabaoth because he didn't like the fact that they had all this wisdom. And in anger, Yaldabaoth, or Yahweh, raped Eve. and she gave birth to Cain and Abel. And we know the story from there. Now, this story is different than the story that we're told, and I'm not trying to rain on your Rosh Hashanah parade. I'm just trying to say that there is more to the story to understand. So if on this day of remembering the creation of Adam and Eve, we should remember the entire story so we understand. Was the creator of Adam and Eve that God, Yaldabaoth, Yahweh? Was he doing something evil? No. He was creating Adam and Eve in order to be able to bring to life and bring the spirit of this God down. He was trying to trap God, but he wasn't necessarily evil. He was selfish and didn't want to have anyone around him. He was jealous. Okay? So we need to understand that there are beings that claim to be gods that aren't, and then there is God beyond all God things, the Mother, the Father, the eternal Creator. And that is what we need to understand. And out of that eternal Creator, Mother, Father, came the Christ consciousness. And from that Christ consciousness came 4 other realms. And from those 4 other realms came 3 other realms from each one of them. Okay? So you've got a lot of things happening. And as you've just noticed, this Christ consciousness has given birth to all of these things. Didn't say Jesus. I said the Christ consciousness, because that is the spirit that flowed through Jesus, through Yeshua, the spirit of the Christ consciousness of the autogens. So if we are truly going to understand this story, we need to go inside to really get clear, because on the outside, reading what we're told happened isn't necessarily the way it was if we're following the story of the Old Testament. There's a piece missing. Okay? And once we understand, then we understand how we move forward in life. That we were created for a specific reason. Now, there's more to the story. You see, as Yaldabaoth evolved over time, he had children. He had a number of sons. And during the course of this process of life and Adam and Eve and all that went on, one day Sophia saw the opportunity and she struck down Yaldabaoth to the bottomless pit, threw him down into the abyss. And Yaldabaoth's son, Sebaoth, saw the power with which Sophia relinquished the father, Yaldabaoth, and so Sebaoth repented and was told by Sophia to do things right. So we now have the situation where there is a deity, as we are told, Sebaoth, who was put into power, that is doing things the right way, and the one who was doing things the selfish way was imprisoned. Just part of the story, part of the real story that the Nag Hammadi tells. It's different than the Old Testament. Either way, humankind was created by a being. Either way, we were filled with the Spirit. But in one way, we were kept from being informed. In another way, we were informed. The Old Testament wants to tell us that it was man that committed the sin. But the story that we hear from the Nag Hammadi is not that same story, because man didn't commit the sin. The one who was the imperfect one that sinned was the Yaldabaoth. Adam and Eve were tricked into something. They didn't go into it. It was a different situation. Okay, now I'm just rambling, but I just want you to understand the differences in these stories because they're very important. Okay, so I'm going to go on from there. Something to consider as we go through the course of today and tomorrow over this Rosh Hashanah, because it is about Adam and Eve, and it is about understanding what it is about. So do we want to understand the real story, or do we want to understand a story that is just a story to make us feel good? Choice is ours. Choice is ours. All right, here's an article over at In5D. Can dramatic climate changes throughout our solar system trigger spontaneous evolution? By Greg Prescott. Something is happening to every planet in our galaxy, and at this point in time, no one is sure why it is happening. Dramatic climate changes have been noted throughout the solar system in recent years. Perhaps these climate changes are related to the Nibiru, Wave X, or any other given cosmic wildcard, but when events like these occur, it's important to take notice. Never in recorded history as mankind have we witnessed so many dramatic climate changes on such a massive scale. The following list contains all the dramatic climate changes throughout our solar system. Additional notations are provided by David Wilcock on Gaiam TV. Okay, the sun is the center of the solar system, and all life on Earth came from the sun. If there were no sun, we would not be alive. This is simply scientific fact. So any changes that occur in or on the sun will eventually affect every person alive. The solar activity is the highest recorded in the past 8,000 years. We know the sun's magnetic field has changed in the last 100 years. There's a study by Dr. Mike Lockwood of Rutherford Appleton National Laboratories in California. Dr. Lockwood has been investigating the sun and reports that since 1901, the overall magnetic field has become stronger by 230%. The moon is growing in atmosphere around the moon. This is 6,000 kilometer deep layer of natrium that wasn't there before. Mercury, unexpected polar ice has been discovered. Magnetic tornadoes along with surprisingly strong intrinsic magnetic field. Venus has had a 2,500% increase in the auroral brightness, which means more oxygen between 78 and 99, and a substantial global atmospheric changes in less than 40 years. Mars, global warming, huge dust storms, disappearance of polar ice caps. Also, clouds and an ozone layer have been detected since 1995. NASA declared global warming on Mars. Jupiter, over 200% increase in the brightness of the surrounding plasma clouds. Huge belts in the giant planet's atmosphere have changed color. Radiation hotspots have faded and flared up again. Clouds levels have thickened and dissolved, all while space rocks have been hurling. Okay, Saturn, major decreases in equatorial jet stream velocities in only 30 years, accompanied by surprising surge of X-rays from the equator. Saturn grew a plasma torus, which became engulfed by 1,000% between 1981 and 93. A new larger plasma torus had just been discovered as well. An aurora appeared under Saturn's polar regions in 1995. In 2004, massive X-ray emissions were also detected near the equator at the 19.5 degree point. In 2001, a massive solar storm encompassed much of Saturn's northern hemisphere, causing an unbelievable temperature spike. Additionally, Saturn has 100 times more ethylene gas than previously thought possible. Uranus, big changes in brightness, increased global cloud activity. Said the planet used to have a very calm atmosphere. Neptune, 40% increase in atmospheric brightness. Pluto, 300% increase in atmospheric pressure, even as Pluto recedes further from the sun. And Earth, substantial and obvious worldwide weather and geophysical changes. Earth's axis has changed. On Earth, the overall volcanic activity increased 500% from 1875 to 1975, while earthquake activity has increased by over 400% since 1973. Dr. Dimitrov says, comparing the years 63 through 93, the overall number of natural disasters, hurricanes, typhoons, mudslides, tidal waves, has increased by 410%. Additionally, many people have noticed significant changes in the color of the sun, which has gone from an egg yolk yellow to a bright white light. If these changes are happening throughout the solar system, then it is possible that they are happening throughout our galaxy. If so, where do these energy waves originate, and what are they capable of doing? Energy has the potential to upgrade our DNA in a spontaneous DNA upgrade type of scenario. If this were to occur, our DNA could automatically upgrade overnight. Imagine waking up and having a number of metaphysical abilities that you never knew you had when you went to bed the night before. Massive changes are happening to those who have the eyes to see them. Even the scholars who rely on empirical data cannot deny the interplanetary climate changes that not only affect our solar system, but us as individuals. Just as everyone with this genre can literally feel as though we're on the verge of something truly incredible, despite those in power trying to keep us living in subservience, control, and conformity through tyrannical and oppressive measures. What my own discernment is telling me is that whatever changes are to come, they're already happening. In my heart, I hope a complete transformation of consciousness happens in the literal blink of an eye, but my gut is telling me that it is the change of seasons. It has already begun and will continue to get stronger as each day passes. Okay, so Changes in the air. We are at this time that we certainly have discussed. September 13th has passed. We're now into the one day past that. Between now and the 23rd is this period of time that we could have some interesting things happen. So we shall pay attention and see what occurs. Here's a message today from Yeshua. Here we go.
Yeshua, the deep expansion of your divine energy, channeled through Franz Zapata, September 13th, 2015.
Hello and blessings, dear beloved brothers and sisters. I come before you to bring you guidance for your further expansion. The deep expansion of your divine energy is becoming quite evident to many of you, as you enter yet another more intensive gateway with the eclipses and equinox and blood moon energies. The time is nigh for you to be much more cognizant and aware of your expansion, and with this awareness brings even more expansion. It is time to be much more comfortable with your own divine energy, your unique energy as it expands, for in it is foretold of your further coming together of your unique divine self, comfortable in your own right. For it is important to cease being so concerned with comparing yourself to others' development and bring a concentrated focus on your own development, your beautiful and unique development and expansion of your own consciousness. For behold, it is important not only for your sake and evolvement and ascension, but for all others, for it builds and consolidates the oneness in all its glory. I come to you now with great unconditional love for you all, and encouragement to keep your focus on your own expansion of your divine self. It is a beautiful thing. It is composite of your divine purpose and of divine will. You are beginning to see the bigger picture of your long arduous journey of rise in consciousness. It has not been easy. You are, however, beginning to fathom the deep transformation you have attained through all your clearing and your blending with your higher self, your divine self, your I Am presence, as a gateway for all others to do the same. For in your maiden journey begun so long ago, you, like myself, in my own incarnation more than 2,000 years ago, are bringing the light to bear throughout all humanity. And it has spread farther than you can even imagine. The key now in perpetuating this light, your journey of ascension, and the ascension of all, is the focus on your own individual expansion of your divine energy, as a precursor to the expansion of all, into the diverse yet complete and whole oneness of being. It is time to explore at a deeper level your connection with Creator and Source energy from the core of your being, your heart center, which now has a deeper and wider connection with Source through the portals opening wider and wider for you to enter. On the other side of that is a new vista which you are beginning to glimpse, that is freedom and expansion and clarity beyond any degree of which you have once experienced it. In this, creation becomes much more readily available to you, for you are dissolving the barriers of illusion and coming face to face with your own vast divine knowledge and abilities, being tapped now at a greater level than before. It is thus becoming much easier for you to embrace your unique abilities that are becoming more evident to you, and are needed for the world and universe and multiverse to expand further. You see, these abilities that you are discovering, or rediscovering, are not just something you can play with and enjoy, be aware of, and be in awe of, which you hopefully are, but also they are part and parcel of the bigger picture of oneness and fills out the greater picture of all that is. It expands further the collective consciousness and prepares for greater miracles of grace. For in your greater individual expansion, in your greater connection with Source, is the greater expansion of all that is, bringing divine freedom and clarity to your purpose. You can thus play upon the stage of expanding divine love and peace, made much more available in your individual rise in consciousness and expansion. For you can now access the higher vibrations and dimensions with more ease, paving the way for divine peace and love to reign in consistent divine unity. And this is a beautiful thing, my dear brothers and sisters. You are to be commended for persistently indulging in your own expansion, even though at times it feels like you hit against walls. But do you not also find that with each wall you hit, that within it is the material to dissolve it, made manifest with your very consciousness and awareness of the wall, and subsequent further deeper delving within your divine essence as a result of and solution for them? Expansion can be free-flowing as long as you see these seeming walls as only reminders of yet another portal to your expanded consciousness. It merely takes acceptance and facing whatever the obstacle is, with the faith and knowing that on the other side of it is freedom and expansion and aha moments of clarity. So my beloveds, continue on with your expansion, and take heed of my encouragement to continue with the energy and quality and aspect of divine grace that you all are. The infinite quality of your being is manifest here now as you explore it more fully by spending more time exploring the still quiet space of your soul, ever expanding your awareness of its infinite divine nature. The sky is the limit, dear ones. You never stop expanding, and with that is the sweet knowing of peace and joy and bliss that you are becoming, all that you are. I am always at your side in peace, love, and eternal bliss. Your loving brother, Yeshua.
All right, good message from Yeshua reminding us what it is we need to know. All right, that brings us to Warrior of the Light message for today. We are at page 106. There it is. The Warrior of Light hears comments like, "There are certain things I'd rather not talk about because people are so envious." When he hears this, the warrior laughs. Envy cannot harm him. If you don't let it. Envy is part of life, and everyone should learn to deal with it. However, he rarely discusses his plans, and sometimes people believe this is because he is afraid of envy. But he knows that whenever he talks about a dream, he uses a little bit of the energy from that dream in order to do so. And by talking, he runs the risk of spending all the energy that he needs to put the dream into action. A warrior of light knows the power of words. And it's very important what is said there. We sometimes want to just go and talk about the things we're going to do, but sometimes we dissipate the energy of it by telling others. You never notice how you tell somebody you're very excited about something, you tell somebody else and they're not so excited. It's like they just took a pin and just stuck it in your balloon and little air is leaking out. So when we have ideas, one of the things in metaphysics and esoteric philosophy says we take that idea and we bring it inside of ourselves, and we don't tell everybody about it. We let it continue to develop. And if we do tell somebody, we make sure it's somebody that is going to support what it is that we're having to say so that it expands what we're doing. We don't want anybody popping holes in our balloon, dissipating our energy, and it happens when we talk too much. So we just need to be aware of that. All right? So that brings us to our meditation for today. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Take another deep breath. And exhale again. And another breath. And exhale. Now continue to breathe and just think about this new beginning that we are on. Another one of the many cycles within the cycles of life. And this particular beginning is the beginning of Rosh Hashanah, where we remember the creation of Adam and Eve. So we allow our thoughts to go back and think back to the time of creation of humankind. And as we think about that, we think about how far we have come over these so many years. We think about all that we have learned in this lifetime and in the many lifetimes that we have all lived. And so now we've come to this time where we are aware of great change upon the planet. And we are aware that it is now time to allow all this accumulated wisdom of all of these years of our life express itself as we evolve. So simply allow yourself to be open to the change, the evolutionary change that is taking place in the world around us and in each individual. And let us be aware that as everyone goes through the changes, we all deal with it differently. So we learn to be patient with each other through the process of change, and that we encourage each other to let go of the things that are holding them back. So let the subconscious mind continue on that journey, observing the world, observing our change and our growth, and sending out positivity. And let's bring the conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3 coming back to the present moment, filled with confidence. 2 coming back to the present moment, filled with faith. And 1 coming back to the present moment, happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, whole. Take another deep breath. Exhale, and open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That's the show for today to get us started on this Rosh Hashanah, a new beginning. So we have a new beginning with a new moon. We have a new beginning on the calendar commemorating when we all started with Adam and Eve. We've got this new cycle that's beginning, the Jubilee with the Jewish calendar. Lots of positive changes taking place in the world, a time for us to go inside and contemplate what these are. Because as we know, this month of September still has many other things in line that are ahead of us yet. So this is a time to prepare, a time to really use this new beginning to reevaluate who we are, what we're doing, and where we're going. Maybe we're going exactly the way we need to go, and that's what our evaluation will show us. If we need to make a change, we'll figure that out as well. So take the time, go inside, figure it out. It's all worthwhile, my friends. That's it for today. I'll be back tomorrow. Have an awesome day. I love you. Keep loving each other. Happy New Year. Peace. I'm out of here.